One of the most powerful tools a startup can use isn't a flashy feature or a marketing hack. It's the disciplined practice of experiment design. Startups don't fail because they lack passion. They fail because they waste resources chasing assumptions that turn out to be wrong. Experiment design is about turning those assumptions into testable statements, running structured tests, and making decisions based on evidence rather than gut feelings. It's what allows founders to learn faster, pivot smarter, and reduce costly mistakes. The real competitive advantage of a startup isn't speed alone, it's speed plus learning. And learning happens when experiments are designed with rigor, purpose, and clear criteria. This is why experiment design is your secret weapon for product success. Experiment design matters for four major reasons. First, it prioritizes evidence over intuition. Too many founders rely on educated guesses, but guesses can be dangerous. They may feel right, but without data, they can drain resources. Structured experiments force you to confront reality. Second, it drives risk reduction. Every startup decision carries risk. By testing assumptions early through controlled experiments, you minimize wasted development cycles and costly errors. It's cheaper to test demand with a landing page than to discover lack of demand after a year of building. Third, it creates crystal clear focus. When you design an experiment, you must articulate exactly what you're testing and why it matters. This clarity eliminates noise and keeps your team aligned. Finally, experiment design accelerates faster learning. Well designed tests lead to quick, actionable insights. Instead of vague results, you get clarity on whether to pivot, persevere, or kill an idea. This agility is the heart of startup survival. In short, experiment design isn't academic, it's the lifeline of early stage ventures. Every strong experiment begins with a strong hypothesis. A hypothesis is a testable assumption about customer behavior. It is not just an idea, it's a clear statement that can be proven or disproven. The format is simple. We believe customer segment will specific behavior if proposed solution. For example, we believe 20% of waitlist subscribers will prepay $10 a month for early access to our beta product. This structure forces specificity. You're not just saying customers want this, you're saying which customers, what behavior, and under what conditions. Strong hypotheses guide the scope of your MVP. They help you focus on the riskiest assumptions first. If your hypothesis fails, you know to pivot before investing further. If it succeeds, you gain confidence in scaling. The discipline of writing hypotheses ensures you test what actually matters rather than wandering aimlessly. The next step is choosing the right metrics. Not all numbers are equal. Some create clarity while others create illusions. First, always focus on one primary metric. Multiple metrics create confusion and diluted results. For each experiment, pick the single most important outcome you need to measure. Second, prioritize leading indicators. Vanity metrics like social media followers or press mentions look good but don't drive decisions. Instead, focus on behaviors that predict real value: sign up rates, retention, conversion, or willingness to pay. These show whether customers are truly engaging, not just browsing. Third, ensure measurability. Your chosen metric must be trackable with your current tools and resources. If you can't measure it accurately, it's not useful. For instance, if you're testing a subscription product, the right metric might be the percentage of visitors who complete payment, not the number of people who clicked learn more. Choosing metrics wisely is what separates useful experiments from noise. Even with good hypotheses and metrics, experiments fail without clear thresholds. Too often, founders run tests, get ambiguous results, and then rationalize them to fit their hopes. This is dangerous. The first rule is to define thresholds before testing. Decide upfront what success, failure, and in between look like. This prevents bias and wishful thinking. Second, create a decision framework. For example, greater than 15% conversion equals success, less than 5% equals failure, between 6 to 14% equals iterate and retest. This creates clear categories for action. Third, use thresholds to enable fast decisions. With criteria set in advance, you avoid moving the goalposts after seeing results. You can pivot, persevere, or kill ideas quickly and confidently. This discipline protects you from false optimism. It ensures you're not clinging to weak signals, but acting on real evidence. Let's bring this to life with a practical example. Imagine a coffee subscription startup. Their hypothesis is we believe 10% of landing page visitors will pre order our monthly coffee subscription. This is specific, measurable, and tied to customer behavior. Their primary metric is the percentage of visitors who click buy now and complete payment. Not just clicks, not just signups, but actual payment. Their success criteria are clear. Greater than 8% conversion means continue building. Less than 3% means rethink the value proposition. And 3 to 7% means iterate and retest. This structured approach prevents false optimism. If only 1% convert, the data is clear. The value proposition isn't resonating. If 12% convert, the data gives confidence to keep going. By applying hypotheses, metrics, and thresholds, the startup avoids wasted effort and builds a foundation for sustainable growth. Experiment design is the secret weapon of disciplined startups. It transforms intuition into evidence, reduces risk, and accelerates learning. It forces clarity by making you define what you're testing, how you'll measure it, and what success looks like. The process is simple but powerful. Start with a bulletproof hypothesis that specifies the customer, behavior, and solution. Choose a single primary metric that reflects meaningful behavior. Set thresholds for success and failure before you begin so results are objective. And always act on what the data tells you, not what you hope it means. The coffee subscription example shows how this works in practice. By being disciplined, founders avoid false hope and build confidence step by step. At the end of the day, startups are experiments. The ones that succeed are not those with the boldest vision alone. They are the ones who learn fastest. And learning happens when experiments are designed with rigor. If you master this, you don't just survive the startup journey, you thrive.